Well, 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 look who's having another royal meltdown over two people just trying to live their lives in peace. That's right, folks. Once again, the British media and their royal puppeteers are foaming at the mouth because Meghan Markle had the audacity, the unthinkable nerve to sign a personal note with her title, HRH, the Duchess of Sussex. And yes, it was in a private gift basket to a friend, not on some big Hollywood billboard or in a Netflix deal, but you'd think she declared herself Queen of England the way they're reacting. This time, the hysteria is reaching such heights that Prince William, aka Mr. Temper Tantrum himself, is now leaking to the Daily Beast that he plans to strip Harry and Meghan of their HRH titles the moment he becomes king. That's his priority. Not homelessness, not climate change, not repairing the monarchy's crumbling reputation, but stripping his own brother and sister-in-law of their styles. Let's talk about how completely unhinged this all is. Now, for context, Meghan recently appeared on her good friend Jamie Kern-Lima's podcast where they had a lovely and inspiring conversation. Meghan shared real insight, and yes, Jamie mentioned receiving a thoughtful gift from Meghan last year, a jam basket with a sweet note. On the note, HRH, the Duchess of Sussex. A personal gesture, not an ad, not a commercial, not a press release, just a private message between friends, but enter the rabid British media, who are acting like this was an act of treason. The Daily Mail, The Sun, and all the usual suspects lost their collective minds, and like clockwork, the courtiers started whispering in journalists' ears. Suddenly, here comes Tom Sykes of the Daily Beast, dropping a bombshell. William is planning to strike down Harry and Meghan's HRH titles. Cue the thunderclap and villain music. Let's pause right there. William is reportedly enraged. He sees Meghan using her title in a private context as a provocation. His sources say he loathes and despises Harry and Meghan with every bone in his body. That's a direct quote. Let me ask you something. Is this normal behavior? Is it healthy, rational, or even remotely kingly for a man pushing 43 to be this obsessed with punishing his brother and sister-in-law over a title? Over a note in a gift basket? No, it's not. This is petty. It's vindictive. And it proves that William isn't fit to lead a lemonade stand, let alone a modern monarchy. Because if this is what he's passionate about, stripping family members of their titles out of pure spite, then Britain should brace itself for a reign defined by vengeance, not leadership. Now let's look at the facts. In 2020 at the so-called Sandringham Summit, Harry and Meghan agreed not to publicly use their HRH styles. The statement still says, they will not use their HRH titles as they are no longer working royals. Public use, not private, not in a letter to a friend, and certainly not when they're not making money off of it. But of course that nuance is too much for the press to handle. They act like Meghan committed international fraud because she didn't scrub the three little letters, HRH, from her own name in a handwritten card. It's ridiculous. It's performative outrage. And the double standard is glaring. Where was this moral outrage when Camilla was using titles while still Charles's mistress? Where's the fire and brimstone when Andrew is still technically an HRH, despite being embroiled in scandal after scandal? The selective outrage is always reserved for Harry and Meghan, for the couple who chose love, truth, and freedom over bowing to palace toxicity. Let's not forget, this isn't even new. Meghan was referred to as HRH in a letter from the Vice President of Ukraine last year, and the media had a fit back then too. But now, with her putting the same title in a note to a friend? Oh no, now it's DEFCON 1. According to William's friends, this proves Meghan is testing the waters. Testing the waters for what exactly? For existing. For breathing while black, successful, and loved. And here's the kicker. This so-called royal crisis is also being used to attack King Charles. One of William's friends said that Meghan using HRH shows how weak and enfeebled Charles is. Excuse me? Charles is being dragged in the press not for anything he did, but for what he didn't do. Because he didn't blow a gasket over a title. Because he didn't fly into a fury over a handwritten card. And maybe that's the smartest move he's made yet. Let's be real. Charles may be many things, but he's not stupid. He knows that stripping Meghan and Harry of their styles entirely would turn the spotlight right back on him, and it would only reinforce what people already suspect, that the firm is hostile, cruel, and obsessed with control. Meanwhile, Prince William can't even keep himself composed for one royal engagement in Scotland. Reportedly, he and Kate were late because William was in full tantrum mode over Meghan's use of HRH. I mean, really? Imagine throwing a grown man fit in a castle somewhere because a woman you claim to hate used her married name. Let's not forget, HRH, the Duchess of Sussex, is her legal married title. That's how she's registered in court documents, in diplomatic correspondence, and in historical records. Meghan didn't just wake up and choose to write that. She is that, whether William likes it or not. And guess what happens if William does go through with stripping the styles? If he finally gets that petty revenge when he becomes king, nothing. Harry and Meghan will laugh, keep thriving, and go back to their peaceful lives in California, raising their kids, creating impactful media, and continuing their humanitarian work. Titles or not, they've already won, because they have freedom, they have love, and they have the power to live life on their own terms. So let William stomp and scream, let the British media swirl in a frenzy. Let the so-called insiders leak their venom. It won't change a thing. Meghan is still the Duchess of Sussex. Harry is still Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, and more importantly, they are still respected, supported, and loved by people around the world who see right through this nonsense. And for those of us here at the Royal Sussex Squad, we'll keep calling out the lies, the double standards, and the bitter vendettas, because we know what this is really about. It's not about protocol, it's not about rules, it's about punishing two people for refusing to be abused in silence. Prince William will strip Harry and Meghan of their HRHs as soon as he's king. The Duchess of Sussex gave her first podcast interview to her friend Jamie Kern-Lima, and the pod was released on Monday. Meghan made so much news on the podcast, talking about all kinds of interesting things. Obviously, an entire national media has become obsessed with one offhand moment in the podcast. That moment, Lima described receiving a gift basket from Meghan last year, a basket with some jam and a nice little note. Lima then added a photo of the basket on the YouTube video, and Meghan's note included her full title, HRH, the Duchess of Sussex. In 2020, the Sussexes promised to not use their HRHs, but the Windsors promised to provide security and space for a year, and that did not happen. So this has become a DEFCON 1 emergency in the British media and royalist media. So much so that I'm pretty sure that Prince William and Kate were late to their event in Scotland yesterday because William was throwing a raging tantrum about Meghan's title and style. Obviously, Tom Sykes at the Daily Beast got the exclusive. Some highlights: William will strip the Sussexes' HRHs. Prince William will strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH, her Royal Highness titles when he becomes king, after Meghan made it clear she plans to continue using the honorific, sources have told the Daily Beast. William's determined position makes a stark contrast to that of the king, who is understood not to have any appetite for a fight on the issue. Why Meghan feels like she can use the HRHs privately. Meghan's side is arguing that she is entitled to use the title, provided it's not for commercial use. A Meghan source said, Harry and Meghan retain their HRH titles. However, by agreement, they do not use them for commercial purposes. While they do not publicly use HRH, this was a personal gift, and their titles remain. The bloody Sandringham Summit deal. However, this interpretation was described by one former courtier as complete rubbish. This source said that the so-called Sandringham Summit, which settled the terms of Meghan and Harry's exit from the ranks of working royalty, made it clear they had agreed not to use the HRH titles at all, ever in any capacity. The official statement, which can still be seen on the official royal website, clearly supports this interpretation. It reads, "The Sussexes will not use their HRH titles as they are no longer working members of the royal family. William despises the Sussexes." The former courtier added, "Charles might be happy to put up with this, but William won't. He loathes and despises Harry and Meghan with every bone in his body. He believes they have betrayed everything the family stands for, and the idea that they are using their royal status as a calling card will enrage him." A provocation. Friends of William told the Daily Beast last week that they thought Meghan was testing the waters by posting a letter addressing her as HRH from the Vice President of Ukraine, but had deniability because the note came from someone else. Printing up compliment slips using her HRH is an entirely different scale of provocation. Charles has lost control. A friend of William's told the Daily Beast, Charles has completely lost control. It's apparent that Harry and Meghan have every intention of making his final years a misery, just as he feared they would. Meghan using her HRH exposes how weak and enfeebled he is. She knows he won't do anything. There is no way King William will stand for this. The titles will simply be removed when he is king. A way will be found. I was expecting William to rage shriek about Meghan's HRH. What I didn't expect was this attack on Charles. Meghan using her HRH exposes how weak and enfeebled he is. She knows he won't do anything. Holy shit. That says so much more about William than it does Charles, Meghan, or Harry. Charles is a rotten old sched, but I don't fault him for not chiming in or making a big fuss over the HRHs and Sussex titles. Harry even gave Charles several months to decide if he wanted to remove anything or change anything back in late 2022 and early 2023, and Charles shrugged it off. That's not Charles being weak or enfeebled. That's Charles playing a long game and not running around like a violently temperamental hothead and rage addict like William. As for William stomping his feet and throwing this huge tantrum, well, this is truly the only thing he's passionate about at this point, and it's the only reason he wants to be king. His first order of business will be a formal revocation of Harry and Meghan's HRH styles. And what happens then? Harry and Meghan will laugh and continue to enjoy their lives in sunny California. So if you stand with Meghan and Harry, if you believe in truth, fairness, and dignity over palace games and tabloid smears, then make sure you subscribe to Royal Sussex Squad right now. Hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and if you'd like to support this channel and the work we do to bring you the truth, please consider sending a super thanks. Every bit helps us keep going strong. Harry and Meghan aren't backing down, and neither are we. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and keep supporting the Sussexes with love.